Good day, viewers at home. You are welcome to another episode of Insight with Stola. Today, I have another engineer as a guest in the house. Somebody that's experienced, retired but not tired.
Thank you very much.
Sir, can you introduce yourself and give us a summary of your career?
Thank you very much. You said it, I'm Engineer Alex AKINTUNDE ARAGBAYE, a retired permanent secretary of the Civil Service. I started my primary school. I had my primary school so many places. Here in AKURE, I started here in AKURE Primary School with AKINTUNDE in AKURE 1964. I followed my father on transfers to D.F.R.R.I, and then to when he retired from me, and finally, where I concluded my primary school education at St. Patrick's Primary School. And then I moved to high school, where I did my secondary school, and I passed out in 1987. And I was a senior prefect at St. From there, I spent a year briefly at the Special System College, now Oscars. Yes, Oscars. I was in Johannes when I got a scholarship to study abroad, a Foundation Alliance scholarship, to study civil engineering in Moscow, Russia. Last day,
So
at that time,
fluently Russian.
oh yes. And at that time, it was called USSR.
Yes.
The Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics. Now Russia, now the 17 of them
Yes.
have passed now.
Yes.
So Russia is now standing up. Moscow is in Russia. That's why I did my civil engineering. I did civil for my first degree and structures, civil engineering structures for my master's degree. Came to return to Nigeria 1986. And I had my national service at the satellite campus of the IBADAN Polytechnic, where I lectured in the engineering department. I handled two subjects, land surveying and the theory of structures. I did that for a year and left there. I returned to AKURE here, and I was employed for the first time with the Ondo State government. Then D.F.R.R.I was newly created. We were the pioneer staff for the place. D.F.R.R.I is the Directorate of Food, Goods and Rural Infrastructure, which was a creation of the Babangida administration around that time to address the acute shortage of infrastructure in the rural areas. So D.F.R.R.I provided roads, rural roads, water, electricity, and agricultural support for the rural areas. Yes. This was to address the rural urban migration, which was too rampant at that time. So I was in D.F.R.R.I between 1987 and 1991. When I moved to the State Ministry of Works. Yes.
Crossed.
Yes, I done the Ministry of Works, and then I was in the engineering department. I rose to the ranks. In 1995, I was posted to ARAGBAYE as the superintendent engineer.
Then Ondo State.
The old Ondo State.
Yes.
Yes, I was transferred to ARAGBAYE as the superintendent engineer. I had under me a colleague and one other divisional offices under ARAGBAYE as the headquarters at that time. Yes. So I was there until October 1996 when the state was created, and I handed over the ministry with all the equipment, vehicles and so on to the people there before I returned to those states to the civil engineering department, and I came to the Civil Engineering Department, then as the Assistant Director of Civil Engineering, later as Deputy Director of the Civil Engineering Department, and later, 2004, I was moved to the Planning Department, Planning Research and Statistics Department
With the ministry.
of the Ministry as Director. This was where I met my first challenge, because the department was dead. Why? Because at that time it was headed by a geographer, and you know, having a geographer in
As the
to
head of
as the head of an engineering department, there was no way to mentor the engineers under him, so there was essentially no engineer there in that department. So if an engineer was posted there, it was a punitive posting. Yes, we call it benching. So if you are posted there,
Yeah, good of you.
you have been benched. Yes, so it was punishment. So when I got there, I observed that the whole office was littered with the carvings. And we really carvings, work of arts, like a fine art studio. So I got everything removed, and I thought of what to do, make it an engineering department. So I observed that since I joined the ministry, all our designs were done on the drawing boards by draftsmen and printed out in what the name of this dark blue something, black. So first thing I did was that I obtained approval to establish a design studio
In the department.
And good enough, with the support of my family secretary then, Engineer A.S.Aminu, the commissioner, who was commissioner at that time, I think it was, yes, Honorable Kekemeke, yes. The governor, fund was released, removed all the partition, became bigger. So I provided furniture. I bought 10 pieces of computer system, complete system, 10. Bought
That's Cambridge Revolution.
I bought a plotter, bought many things. AC in the room looked like a standard studio. So I put in consultants to come and do training for my engineers, yes. With support of government, like I told you, from the fund reduced, I bought new software for roads, two on roads, one for bridges, and two for structures. For structures.
That's complete overhaul.
Yes, yes. I partnered essentially with some of my consultants, engineers, Adewale of Advanced Engineering. Yes, and we provided the trainers who trained us in this software. Yes, and my engineers became proficient in the engineering design. You know, we started from the very scratch. How to use a total station. You know, got a total station and how use it to pick a spots on the road, the left, the right, the center, and at intervals of about 25 meters. And that's where possible, where we cannot achieve 25 meters, maybe 10, 5 meters, as the case may be. So, we assess, now you put the report of that total station data into our computer system. It is where you do your bill of quantities.
That's interesting.
Yes, so there's no
Instead of going to
yes, need manual something where you have errors here and there. So that was, since then, it has been so. I know that that's one of my achievements.
That's a good impact.
Thank you very much. The ministry. Another thing, around that time, that I did, before I left the planning department, we're using very poor offices, poorly furnished and very, very small. In most cases. I decided to have something befitting. So I sought the approval of the then commissioner through my PS. My PS was Engineer Samino, and the commissioner was Honorable D.F.R.R.I. With agreed, I sought approval to use the football field. Yes, but then football is not where our then works rangers were using. I moved ball rangers to our yard at ARAGBAYE, provided them with some little fund, made them comfortable there. They had larger space where they could practice,
Yes.
and some buildings which they could use. So we moved them up there. So I assembled our engineers and one of our consultants who are partnering with us, Engineer Adiade, Advanced Engineering. So we did the design together. 3-story building. One of the things about that building is that the deck, usually a building deck,
Yes.
should be of concrete.
Full concrete.
Yes, but that one is of bond clay interlocking blocks. Yes.
Why? It's a new design.
Yes, it's a new design just to.
And it reduces cost too.
Yeah, number one, the weight is reduced, the cost is less. So if you put it in such a way that the amount that finished that building was not what we have finished it conventionally through engineering and energy. So we finished the building and to the glory of what is being used today.
Yes.
Although I've been transferred from the ministry before it was put to use, but like late governor AKINTUNDE of Desert would say when a man plants a tree, there is not planting it so that he only could benefit from the fruit and the shade, or for generations to come.
I will sit under it.
Yes, so to sit under it, enjoy the shade, and also benefit from the fruits too. And that is exactly what is happening today. So from Ministry of Works, where I was permanent secretary, I was appointed permanent secretary in 2009, the State Ministry of Works. From there, I moved to Ministry of Environment. I was in the Ministry of Environment for about a year. From there, I was moved to the Ministry of Agri. Spent about 3 years in the Ministry of Agri.
Going back to different.
Then from there, I was moved to Ministry of Lands, January 2018. And that was where I retired in October 2018. But along the line, from 2004, I participated in the project preparation of a World Bank project called ODCBUDP, Ondo State Community-Based Urban Development Project. Yes. Participated in project planning, and eventually I was advised to apply as the project engineer, which I did. And I was appointed project engineer, and that was where I had my trainings, both in administration and also in procurement.
That's good.
So many training, both local and overseas
You're a
training.
licensed procurement expert. I said you're a licensed.
Yes, so that was where I did my training in procurement, both in Nigeria here, with the World Bank itself. We had procurement clinics almost quarterly. We had procurement clinics. We had training at the Lagos Business School, everywhere. Then we had the main training in the Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, 2008. So that was where I had my training mainly in procurement, became a procurement specialist. So that helped me greatly in my career, even as a permanent secretary. I reshaped the procurement system, procurement of civil works. You know, we did majorly the roads. Yes, it's the Ministry of Works. Yes. I introduced a lot of innovations. For instance, in our agreement with contractors, the conventional agreement was such that when you give advance payment guarantee to a contractor, sometimes they give you, if the advance payment guarantee they give you does not secure anything. Yeah, government loses money all the time. So, but there is this so-called unconditional bank guarantee, which is the creation of the World Bank. That's what I introduced. So that makes not just the contractor himself, but the bank that guaranteeing him makes the bank the primary obligator. Yes, that is, in case of default, it is that bank that will pay the money.
So that means checks and balances.
Without the right of objection, just give them the document. This contractor has failed to perform. First of all, they will fund the money and then start to deal with the contractor. That made them to sit tight.
And that secured government funding.
Yes, that secured government funding.
Now when you give them money and they just disappear.
Yes, there was a contractor, I won't mention his name, who was given money and he did not perform. And when he was being asked to return to site, he was being reluctant. I sought my approval of my permanent secretary to let me act on it. He did. And I sent a copy of the APG to the bank. I think it's Unity Bank or so. I sent it to the bank and I sent a copy to the World Bank, to the CBN. To the CBN, the operations department. So the CBN deducted that, the CBN wrote them to refund the money. The advance payment was 300 million. They said they only had 150 to pay. Said no, by the statement of the guarantee, you have to pay 300. So CBN deducted 300 from their deposit and paid, yes. So it's a very good tool. Yes, very good.
Because of that training that you
yes. I knew how to apply it and now to enforce it. Yes.
The enforcers. Sir, are you sure, sir?
So I retired in 2018 and by 2019 I started this little consulting outfit, Sputnik Engineering.
What's the name, sir?
Sputnik.
Yeah.
Sputnik is a Russian word.
I know. What do you mean?
Sputnik. Sputnik is like a spacecraft. Yes, the first spacecraft that lifted the astronauts from the Earth to the moon or wherever.
And the name.
Yes, that's called Sputnik. Yes.
Sir, what can you say inspired you to study civil engineering?
Well, at the time we were in secondary school, there was nothing like career guidance at counseling, which we had to do. But luckily for me, my father was an educator. So when he saw my performance and I told him I was interested in engineering, he So if you are interested in engineering, you better go for civil.
Maybe that was in info then.
Pardon?
I think that was the info then.
Yes.
Civil.
Yes, so and had no regrets I did. So then up to today, and I was able to mentor my engineers. I selected the best boys, I mentored them, I trained them. Before I left there, even up to now, they are referred to as ARAGBAYE boys. And these are the best boys. I know they are the future of the ministry.
Yes, sir.
And by His grace, today they are making waves in this ministry.
Thank you for that, sir. So, what's your approach to solving complex situations? Your approach?
My approach to complex situations do come up most of the time. Usually what I do is I assemble my engineers. I table the problem for them. And so what do? I allow everybody to contribute, and I give my opinion, and then we balance the equation, and then we decide on what to do.
That is the team player.
Yeah, of course, that's part of the training I had.
Yeah. Okay, sir. What key skills or attributes are necessary to succeed in the field of civil engineering?
Yeah. In the field of civil engineering, there are many other professions. You must embrace training and retraining. Training, retraining. Pardon?
I said there's no substitute for that.
No substitute. And let me give you an example. When I was in school, I did computer, but we don't have this desktop or laptop at that time. What we had in my school was what I call mainframe computer, where the engine is on the underground, and then you have the block of machine upstairs and they punch the cards. You use punch cards. So, but when I got to Nigeria and started my career, I knew that I couldn't see anything like punch cards. And I know that computer would be the in thing. So immediately when I went to Lagos for training, I looked for somewhere where I could learn computer. So around Maryland, I saw some Davis computers, and I went in there to interview the old man. Coincidentally, he was from Ondo State. I remember that name, Davis computer. So he told me, if I'm interested, that I should wait till, this was around March, so that I should wait till around September, that he was planning to establish an office in AKURE. So, and through the letters, he established a training center in AKURE here, and that's where I trained myself in the use of computers. Yes. And in engineering design too, while I was in the ministry, I used to go on my own for training. Even after I retired, I was still going. I've been going for training. Yes, continuous, both in Abuja and Lagos.
Sir, what advice will you give young engineers?
My advice is that, particularly engineers, will have said it, is that work they are doing, particularly when they just come, just enter the ministry, they should not allow the love of money to ruin their future, their career. Yes, because some people, once they start having money, you are giving a little money, probably on a labor or as a project engineer on site, you have some allowance. Yes. And that one is not for you. When you go there, at the end of the month, your salary is still there. They should not, because of that, decide to stay just like that. They should train themselves. Or to train yourself, go for trainings here and there, don't look for the ministry. Because government, what I discovered is that for government, it's only a staff that determines the trainings.
Yes.
And the staff, you have only admin officers. So the only training they can give you is these are trainings that are relevant to them, not the ones that are relevant to you. The management training that I had, for instance, I had them while I was on the World Bank project. The procurement training I had them when none of my colleagues or my seniors had that opportunity. Can you imagine?
That cannot be taken away from you.
No, it cannot. I'm still benefiting from it today. So they should come to train themselves. When you hear, try to network, particularly when you go for engineering training like AKURE assembly, N.S.E, general, or nice conferences. Try to network, learn what is happening in the field, what are the new trends. Try to learn. You can achieve a lot. Even up to having information, you know, when you advertise for work and you have several contractors competing, it is always an advantage if you are able to have some information about your contractor to be. Because I remember there was a particular situation we were to, when during the Dominico's administration, we were to have some key projects here in AKURE. So many contractors applied, and one of them was to have bulk of the something on the contract in Mongo in particular. He even wanted to have the one in AKURE. But we went to one engineering assembly, and as we were discussing, I mentioned them to some of my colleagues there. They said, if you want to work with this guy, you must be very careful. And number one, don't take anything from me. If he offers you any bribe or anything, if ordinary gift, don't take from me, because he will use it against you. They said, anywhere he takes contract, it always ends up uncompleted. It always ends up in litigation because he will take government to court. And he never loses any case. So if you want to work with him, you have to be extra smart. And don't hold any private meeting with him. If he invites you for a meeting, let him come to your office and let some of the officers be around.
That's the advantage of networking.
Yes. And true to it, when this guy came, he is a lawyer. I don't want to mention his name. I introduced to him the agreement, that if you sign this agreement, he read it, said no, that there's no fairness in this document. I said, sir, there cannot be fairness. We are giving you money. So we must be able to secure our money.
Yes.
So if I say your bank is the primary obligator, why are you worried? It's not as if you're not going to do the work now, so don't be afraid. He said no, that he cannot sign. He reported to the governor called me, and I explained to him. The governor said he must sign. Then when he wanted to give his permission, he said he would come and sign on Sunday. Sunday morning around 7 a.m.
When there's no official assignment.
I called my D.F.R.R.I. I said, it's Friday on Monday, in the office on Monday.
On Sunday.
On Sunday, I called a few of my officers that are relevant to the job. We came, he signed it, left. Eventually, when he couldn't complete the job, he still wanted to be paid. The case landed in court.
And that
as
was
they said, they told me that if he won't finish the job, I will still take government to court. And that was exactly what he did. The case was called in Ondo. By the time the case came up, I was in a service. I went once. He applied for time. Unfortunately, the next time it was called, I retired. But the Minister of Justice still called me to follow them. So, but somehow the case did not hold. And I think it was solved politically. Yes. So it's good to network.
yes. It will reduce the rate of
Yes.
Then misconceptions are civil engineering. I want to clear any misconceptions that you know.
In civil engineering.
Yes, in your career.
There's no misconception about civil engineering, but one thing I observe is that in the service generally, then let me say there was, I don't know if it's still there, this belief that only admin officers could be permanent secretaries. You know, they don't believe that that engineers could be permanent secretary. They are not likely to make good administrators. That's a very terrible misconception. Some of us have had more training than some of them. Management training, not to talk of some other training. Even ordinary divisional engineer, he manages men and resources more than the permanent secretary. Yes, and you are saying that he's not a good administrator. Even after many years of doing that, as a divisional engineer, as a superintendent engineer, they manage, even as a direct labor head, they manage resources and men more than the whole ministry. Yes, divers too. They also deal with the public. So they are good managers.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Sir, then before we go on, I want to ask you a question. There is, from your previous explanation,
Yes.
I picked something there, and that has to do with what you did in the Ministry of Works before you left. It's still there tomorrow. That is, I've forgotten the name you called it. You brought in finance into engineers to go to conferences.
Okay.
So what led to that act?
I said it here.
Because up till now it's still.
I observed that when they send people for training, most of the time they send only admin officers. They don't send professionals. And even when they send professionals, they send them to trainings and courses that are not too relevant.
They are filled.
Yes, they are filled. So I decided they must have something. So in our bill, on every benefit, I put there 5% for engineering training and development, and it was approved. So on every contract we have fund, and from that fund, I sent our engineers to engineering assembly, that is current assembly, send them to Nigerian Institute of Engineer annual general meeting and conferences and relevant trainings. I was sending them. I think you should know that.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Ministry have even copied that now.
I send them to trainings very regularly.
Thank you for that,
They are up to date,
yes,
and it's still there today.
Yes, I also am a beneficiary.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you, sir. Sir, on lighter mood, what do you enjoy doing outside of engineering? You are not designing it, you are not supervising it, you are not on site. What do you do? Either for winding or for relaxing?
Well, I do relax. So.
Do you go to sports or games?
Yes, I go to sports. The time I was learning lawn tennis, and I'm just to keep fit, and I go for
walks,
gymnastics and aerobics, and I work out every day, and I do relax in the evenings.
Very, very good.
Yes. I know that I'm sure you won't want to go into those details.
No, sir. Thank you for that, sir. Then, sir, if you could meet any innovator or professional from history, who would that person be and why?
Let's leave those Albert Einstein and all that there. The people that have inspired me when I was training, there was one Professor Rikash. Professor Rikash, he took me in structures
In Russia.
He's a very superb man, a good teacher, very sound teacher. He understands structures like his heart. Yes, and he inspires me. He was the one who designed this. When a rocket is being launched,
Yes.
Those frames that holds the hand, and at the blast, the thing releases.
Yes.
Yeah, that structure was designed by Professor Nkash. Ask anybody. And it's been copied all over the world. Yes.
Really, Elon Musk.
Eh?
And that's why Elon Musk too.
I believe that mainly because Russia did not key into this, what we call it, patency right something on time. So whenever they design anything, it will easily be copied by anybody from the West.
The person now patent.
Yeah, they will just be using it now, like this AK-47 of 15.
Yes.
This gun, you know, it was
By Russians.
by Russian, Anton Kalashnikov. He was in the Russian army. He designed it during the Second World War. And it's one of the two key tools that they used to finish the damage during the war. But today, you have the American version, you have the German version, you have the Italian version of AK-47. So, because there are no patency right on
Yes,
it's ditto for this structure that I'm talking about. There are another person here in Nigeria that inspired me. It's engineer ARAGBAYE. He was in IBADAN. He was with ATRO and partners. Yes. I was to
most of the civil engineers are met.
Pardon?
I said most of the senior civil engineers are met.
Yes.
You usually mention that name.
Yeah, he's one of the fathers of civil engineering in Nigeria. There's no doubt about it. You know, when I go to Ministry of Works,
Yes.
I discovered that engineer ARAGBAYE had designed AKURE ring road. Yes, there was to be a ring road around AKURE. First of all, they did the inner ring road, which was, but later because of the capital outlay, government did not
Go ahead with that.
yeah. Later, when government said, okay, this thing is important, let us go into it. It had been overtaken by buildings, and they discovered that too much of compensation would pay.
Yes.
Now design the outer ring again. The cost became higher. So, and government couldn't do it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, sir.
Thank you.
So, what is fun about you? That people don't know.
Well, I'm a very simple person. I don't know. Some people say that when they see me from afar, they think I may be a difficult person. When they come here, that's what they tell me. That seeing you from afar, we always think that you could be a difficult person. Not difficult.
Thank you for your time, sir.
You're welcome.
Viewers at home, it has been interesting and good insights listening and discussing with engineer Alex AKINTUNDE, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a procurement expert, licensed one by one bank. Sir, it's been fun sitting around and learning from your experience, listening. You will have picked one or two notes. And I want to thank you for being a beneficiary of your 5% conferences in Ministry of Works, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, and I believe that is my prayer and our prayers too, that you have led us and you have retired. By God's grace, God will give you and grant you sound health in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Nothing evil will come your way.
Amen.
So that when we consult you, we still meet you.
Amen.
So viewers at home, we thank you for listening. Until next episode, where we'll come with another guest for listening.
Are you